Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the YouTube channel. It's been a while, actually. It's been a very difficult time for wrestling, and we've taken a little bit of a hiatus, but I thought I would drop in a cheeky little AEW Dynamite review, so hopefully y'all will enjoy it. Dynamite this week, so opening up with an absolute banger. Loving that lumberjack match, man. How about a little bit of Wardlow versus Luchasaurus? This is how I want to see Luchasaurus, as this kind of wrecking machine, not this hokey pokey joke kind of heavy for Jungle Boy and Marco Funt. I just want to see him do more, and I feel like this is an opportunity to see him do more. I feel like Wardlow comes out of this looking like a star. I think both guys delivered an excellent match, actually. And one thing I loved about it was the fact they didn't overdo it. It wasn't like, 45 minutes long and crazy amounts of over-the-top spots. Like, there were some great, semi-over-the-top spots, so to speak, but it wasn't just overloaded with things. The spots felt like they meant something, from the stage antics with... obviously, Marco Stunt being lobbed off of the stage, the athleticism of the match. I enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. I thought it was an excellent contest. I think Wardlow comes out, it's looking fantastic. Luchasaurus, we already know kind of what he's capable of. Wardlow, when he's in high-profile matches like this, the steel cage match with Cody, which of course he made his debut in, he looks like a star. He really does. And obviously, his character's going to need a bit more polishing. He's going to need a little bit more... a progression, obviously, but I just really like him. I really like their big man division, actually. I think it's coming along nicely, and we got plenty of flavour from the big man as well, with stuff later on as well, but I enjoyed this. This is how you open up a show. I didn't enjoy the presser, I have to say, from Cody and Jake Hager. That sucked ass, let's be honest. Like, I love AEW, right? And I wouldn't say I watch it with rose-tinted spectacles, but there are certainly times when I think, I probably enjoy this a lot more because it's on Dynamite as opposed to WWE. But that being said, this was fucking awful. It was set up fine. They asked him a couple of questions. Nothing really happened. Jake Hager turns up, whoopee, and then his wife throws some water on Cody. That's it. And Dustin's like, hey, get her out of here. It's like, alright, Dustin, don't get too triggered. Like, it's just a glass of water, mate. Yeah, just... kind of disappointing. Don't really get it, don't understand it, don't really care, to be fair. I mean, it's a real shame as well, because Cody is having some of the best matches in wrestling. He's the hardest worker for me, but I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, can't wait for him to face Hager, that's going to be awesome. Couldn't care less, to be honest. Really couldn't care less. Just, it is what it is. Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela. Really excited about this as a tag team. I think they're really cool. I think they're very progressive. I think they're very accessible as well. I love Sonny Kiss. Just think there's a real chemistry, actually, between the two. They're kind of like the reprobates, if you want to put it that way. But they're very glamorous, very beautiful, very both of them very sexy individuals. And they smolder. I love them. I think they're so cool and they're so edgy and so different. And it just works for me. Sonny Kiss's work in the ring is absolutely phenomenal. The athleticism. My God, that moonsault to the outside. And I genuinely thought Sonny had got a concussion. I was like, no. But yeah, killer high flyer, great athleticism. You saw that as well. Taking a lot of risks in this match, Sonny. The dive to the outside as well. But I really enjoyed this. Great showing in the tag team. And as much as I'm not a huge fan of the Dark Order, I particularly am disappointed with the use of Brody Lee. I am fascinated by the dynamic of him and Colt Cabana. It's the little things. During this match, there was a point where Joey Janela went to suicide dive Brody Lee and Colt Cabana, and he pushed Colt Cabana out of the way, almost like saying, watch out, I can protect you, I can show you the way. It was very, very cool. I really like the idea of it. The storyline is building nicely. Like, the fact that Brody Lee was like, here, this is for you, have the win, you deserve the win, this is to show you what you can get from the docket. It's very cool. I really like the storyline. That being said, I am a little bit disappointed in the direction of Brody Lee. I was hoping, in WWE, I used to wax lyrical about Luke Harper being such an incredible athlete, incredible worker, great mic worker as well. And he's in a position, obviously, a better position than he was in WWE. I love how WWE apologists are like, Brody Lee's a fucking joke now. Not really. Like, he wasn't doing fuck all for the longest time in WWE. The only disappointing thing to come out of this match is the fact that Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela have to kind of take a loss, so they have to take it on the chin. But Colt Cabana getting a win, and you could see it in his face, like, oh, is this something that I could get used to? Like, the idea that someone like Colt Cabana could really inject a bit of charisma into this group. You know, I like the idea of them making it different. I would love the idea of seeing people get turfed out, but I love this because there were so many storylines going on. You know, Lance Archer comes down at the end and he starts decking Sonny Kiss. No idea. I didn't see Dark. I don't know if that was a continuation of that, but you know, Joey Janela getting involved with a steel chair and stuff, just lobbed it at Lance Archer, and Lance Archer's like, no, absolutely fucking not. Which I thought was great. I love the fact that Jake Roberts can somehow control Lance Archer. He's like, stay back. It's like, come on, man. Like, if Lance Archer wants to, he can murder everybody. But I enjoyed it. Thought it was fun. A lot of fun. Really appreciate it. Great continuation of the storyline. Enjoy what the Dark Order and Colt Cabana thing brings, even though I think the Dark Order in general kind of sucks. It really does. It's just a load of jobbers, you know. It's just, like I've said on Twitter, it feels like Luke Harper is spending a little bit too much time hanging around with a load of people cosplaying as the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. Yeah, would like to see a little bit more seriousness from him. But still very cool, very enjoyable, and I'm still intrigued as to ultimately where they go with the Colt Cabana storyline. I should also mention quite fleetingly, Hikaru Shida ran over poor old Red Velvet. Real squash match. Bit of a disappointment, actually, because I really like Red Velvet. I like her look. She's very smouldering, very scintillating, very different take on a women's wrestler, which I like. But yeah, Hikaru Shida ran her over in seconds and then proceeded to brawl with Penelope Ford, who was at ringside, who was goading her at the start of the match. The one thing that was really, really funny about this was she just knocked him the fuck out. She took a swing at Kip Sabian and just leveled the poor sucker, done his shades in. Kip Sabian is being great fun and is really good, actually, in this position as the kind of ratty boyfriend of Penelope Ford, who's also a very capable wrestler in his own right. It's fun. It's really fun. I enjoy it. I do appreciate it. And there was this lovely little moment. I don't know if anyone noticed. Ricky Starks was getting involved in the brawl, trying to separate them. And at one point, Penelope Ford, I think, accidentally, as she swings at sort of Hikaru Shida with a working punch, she accidentally actually catches poor old Ricky Starks in the eye or the nose, and he looked like he was just like, ow, what the fuck? And there was just this very brief moment where you saw Shida just turn around and like, are you alright? You okay? And I was like, oh, that's so adorable. You know, even in the moment, you know, you're still trying to check in on him. And yeah, I like that. I appreciate that. It's the little things about wrestling that I find fun. You can tell that she is legitimately a nice, wonderful human being. And she's a real credit to that women's title. And do you know what? Riho did a decent job for me as the first women's champion. Not the best. She maybe shouldn't have been the first, but she did an admirable job. And actually, the work rate and the storytelling of her matches were great. Then we had Nyla Rose, who is phenomenal. Then we followed that up, of course, with Hikaru Shida, who has been great so far. Despite some of the, you know, kind of failings of the women's booking, the women themselves have always delivered, and they're doing fantastic work, and I'm actually excited. I'm actually really excited. I love the fact they're willing to push someone like Penelope Ford, and the only upside to the unfortunate injury of Chris Statlander is it opens up opportunities for other women to step into the fold and prove what they're worth. So it's very, very cool. You know, you've got Anna Jay floating around, starting to make her mark as well. Loads of women coming through. I actually, for the first time, really have a lot of hope that this division could be a world beater. It's got a long way to go to even get close to something like NXT, whose women's division is lights out, but it's getting there, and I really appreciate it. I really do. You like tag team wrestling? Yeah, you like tag team wrestling. I fucking love tag team wrestling. I think it's the best wrestling in the world. And from the get-go, I said that AEW had the best tag team division in the world. The question was, however, how effective were they going to make it? And there's been some mistakes along the way. I love the reigning tag team champions. I think that Hangman Page and Kenny Omega as singles wrestlers have been nothing short of phenomenal, especially Hangman Page, who has really come along. However, I still to this day maintain, despite their success and despite the fact that they've won me over with everything they've done, I still maintain they should not have won the tag titles. When you have the Lucha Brothers, when you have Proud and Powerful, when you have the Young Bucks, when you have Best Friends, not to mention the guys who won it first, of course, SCU, it's a little bit insulting that two singles guys took it. And Kenny Omega's promo, summed it up. So there was a promo that took place right after the tag team match I'm about to talk about, which I'll get into a little bit more in a minute, where they obviously hype the fact that they're facing the best friends at Fyter Fest. But right before that, we got FTR versus SCU. And can I just say as well, it was meant to be Dustin and QT Marshall, the Natural Nightmares. I love those guys. I think they had a wonderful tag match, especially last week. They really kicked into gear. However, this is a big upgrade for me. SCU are, for me, one of the measuring sticks of great tag team wrestling. Bad Influence, however you want to call them, they have been around for a very long time, because Aaron and Christopher Daniels are blood brothers. In the same way that Best Friends, the same way the Lucha Brothers are, they just work. They're the perfect tandem. And here they are, having this world-class technical wrestling match. This was a textbook example of what tag team wrestling is supposed to be. Do you know what I love about FTR? I believe them when they've come in and said, we want to actually be a tag team, not be a fucking joke, not be a bunch of flip artists. We want to actually bring some credibility, because as much as I have loved some of the amazing tag team matches that AEW has had, there is no question that there has been a real flippant regard for rules, and the refs have looked stupid, and it's just kind of been very shaky and all over the place. This match was phenomenal, man. FTR have been here for a cup of coffee, and they already feel like one of the best tag teams in the world. We already knew that before that. The Revival were magnificent in NXT, in WWE, and now in AEW. I'm always flabbergasted to think, Scott Dawson, man. Like, there's Scott. He was with the French guy. I can't remember his name. I think Grenier. Not Grenier. Somebody else like that. But Sylvester Lefort, I think it was. And just the idea that he's gone from that to being one half of the best tag team in the world is so cool and so unique. I love those kind of stories. He's a guy who's floundering and developmental despite being a very capable wrestler, and now look at him. It's just so cool. They feel like big money players. They feel like big marquee talents with the old school vibe, but they still work the great stuff. In this match, there were still Hurricane Runners, there was still the Shatter Machine, or as they're calling it, I think the Midnight Express or something like that, as kind of a reference to that. But there's just something really special. The vibe, you gotta feel it. You feel when FTR tip up there's something different out of Fyter Fest. Obviously they go over SCU, great match, textbook match, top quality. They have reignited what should have already been an on-fire tag team division, because now they've added serious credibility to it. We've got the best athletic tag teams in the world, bar none. However, this now means they have the best working tag team. They're mechanical. They're perfect in the way they use. They're technically supreme. They are a Rolls Royce of tag teams, because they are so effective. They are so highbrow. They're so high quality in what they do. And they do it all with a sense of subtlety. That's what I love about them. Subtly world class. And that's really difficult to do. You can almost sometimes forget just how good they were. And that was probably the problem that they had in WWE, was the fact that they were kind of overlooked, and we kind of took for granted the fact that they were one of the best tag teams in the world. Who can forget their matches with DIY and AOP, man? Man, those were special matches. Matches with the New Day. Matches, everything was phenomenal. Everything they did was phenomenal. And it's funny how quickly people can forget, but now they're in AEW, they've got a whole new roster, a brand new roster of guys to work with, and it's only going to get better. And the dream match for me, one of the dream matches, is FTR versus the Lucha Brothers. And I'm going to get a taste of that, because the Butcher and the Blade are going to tag up with the Lucha Brothers and face FTR and the Young Bucks at Fyter Fest. That is going to be an insane match, and also a great storytelling mechanism. Super excited for that. Now, on the flip side of things, the tag team titles are on the line, obviously, at Fyter Fest. Best Friends get their opportunity at the gold against Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Now, I'm excited about the match. I've enjoyed Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, especially a lot more in the sort of recent run. Hangman Page is warming up to me so much. They tried to play it too seriously for my money at the beginning, and then since they started adding more comedic stylings to it, it's worked a lot better. I do take umbrage with certain things. You know, AEW is very quick to kind of, very much in the same way WWE said, oh, the greatest wrestling match of all time, Edge versus Orton. Oh, this is the greatest tag team match of all time. I don't think so. I don't think it's even close to being one of the best tag team wrestling matches of all time. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a match of the year candidate, but I don't think Young Bucks versus Hangman and Kenny Omega is, for my money, even... I wouldn't say it's even top 5, maybe not even top 10 when it comes to best tag team matches. It might be the best, one of the best tag matches that I've seen here. Still really favour Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks, but it's subjective at the end of the day. We've all got different opinions, and hey, what's your favourite tag team match? Leave it in the comments below, it's as simple as that. But I'm excited about the match, and I kind of like the promo as well. I didn't think I'd like it, but I did. I did enjoy the promo. Listen to... the way that the best friends were kind of just sitting there very blasé, oh, how's our posture doing? Like, just kind of not taking it too seriously. And there's kind of, you know, Paige and Omega sitting there. One's a cowboy, one's a Canadian avant-gardist, by the look of it. Just this mentality of it all. And they're like, yeah, we're not taking this that seriously. And it was still a lot more entertaining than that fucking god-awful presser I saw earlier in the night. So yeah, it's going to be a good match. And I'm looking forward to Fyter Fest. And you know, with the difficulties that the wrestling world's suffering, that the real world is suffering in terms of, you know, COVID-19 there. Not to say that the wrestling world isn't real, but you know what I mean. Like, you know, out there in the big wide world, you know, wrestling is really taking a hit right now. And it's not like you can kind of escape from that and go to the real world, because that's just as fucked right now. Having 2 pay-per-views, essentially, over 2 Dynamites, you know, one pay-per-view spread over 2 Dynamites, shall I say, it's fun. Something to look forward to, something different. I really look forward to it. Don't care about Brian Cage running someone over. Who cares about that? Like, what's the point in that? Meh. It's just, the whole gimmick here is Taz just trying to trigger Jon Moxley at every opportunity he gets. Brian Cage kind of standing there looking like the ridiculously jacked machine that he is. But, like I say, I don't care about watching him run over some scrub. Like, yeah, it is what it is. I can't even remember the name of the guy he beat. Him with Drill Claw, excuse me. Whatever, man. Whatever. Like, you know, I think it would add a bit of cadence and credibility to Brian Cage's run if he faced a few guys who were relatively decent. You know, stick him in there with someone like Joey Janela, so you can get a taste of something a bit different. You know, I'm all for these guys getting an opportunity. I think that's very cool. But when they're just getting run over like this, you know, I understand you're against Brian Cage, but I would have liked to have seen someone with a bit more credibility, someone with a bit more character, someone who can draw something more out of Brian Cage. You know, him flattening tiny indie jobbers, it doesn't do anything for me. Whereas if he comes out and has a fucking knuckle duster of a fight with someone like Joey Janela and ends up fucking pretty much trying to break the poor bastard in half, I'm going to kind of look at that and think, ooh, you know, Moxley's in trouble. Right now, I've got no reason to think, as a fan, and from an entertainment perspective, that Jon Moxley's going to get a serious... Yeah, he's obviously going to get a serious challenge. If you know what I mean, I'm trying to state the argument well. I don't sit here and think, oh, well, Cage has run over those jobbers. That just shows his dominance. No, Jon Moxley's a different animal. He's a different beast. But at the same time, it's a different match. It's one that I'm more excited for. I haven't really been into the whole Jon Moxley run yet. Hopefully this match is going to kind of turn me more in favour of Jon Moxley's title run and being heavyweight champion, because right now I'm looking at the roster and thinking there's only 1 or 2 guys who maybe would be seriously credible contenders and maybe have the opportunity to take the belt away from him, especially now that they've used a couple of the big name players up. So yeah, it is what it is, but Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley is kind of flatter to deceive as a build for me. By the way, as a quick aside, Big Swole, I got all day for her throwing garbage on Britt Baker. I am loving Big Swole right now. I didn't really get a chance to mention it. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. She stole the kind of golf cart that Britt Baker was on. She kind of hijacked it and drove her off and then dumped her in a garbage truck. But there was that moment where she just went, "Where to, Baker?" It's just like very much knocking off the Undertaker thing. It was so much fun. And this week, oh man, she's chatting shit. She's like, "I can't hear you. You can't do nothing." Like, just the idiocy of it. You'd think somebody who was apparently a dentist, who would have thought, would understand that when the top bit of that partition, when there isn't a top bit, people can get in there still fairly easily, love. Still, very good fun. Yeah, Big Swole dumping garbage on it. But Big Swole not even having to wrestle to get over as one of the more entertaining and bigger stars on AEW. I loved it so much. Wasn't as hot on Matt Hardy versus Santana. Man, I feel like Proud and Powerful aren't being used properly. Is that just me? Maybe I'm just being a miserable old man, but I love Proud and Powerful. I genuinely think they're one of, if not the best tag team in the world when they're really cooking. And I know that COVID-19 has made it very difficult for us to really kind of have some stability in who's available, who's wrestling and whatnot. But man, there was a point where an LAX, especially an Impact, were just on fire. And when they first came in, they were having world-class matches. And then here we are today, Santana having a alright match with broken Matt Hardy. You just think, ugh. And then he loses as well. And you just think, I don't mind that. But, you know, because Matt Hardy's kind of established himself more as a singles wrestler. But at the same time, I just think, what's the purpose? You know, what's the point? You know, I get it. Like, obviously, with what happened to Sammy Guevara, which is incredibly unfortunate and, you know, frankly, very fucking stupid on his behalf. It is one of those things where it's kind of a last minute thing. So, but I just, you know, I'm watching it. You know, they're putting out the Lucha Brothers and Butcher and Blade and Young Bucks, and they're getting them involved with FTR, and it seems like Proud and Powerful are just kind of chopped liver floating around. And I'm sure they'll get their time. I'm sure they will eventually. But man, when they first came in, they were red hot, taking those masks off after the ladder match between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks for the AAA Tag Team Championships. And here we are. Like, this, man, it just feels like nothing's going on for Proud and Powerful, and I think that's disappointing. That being said, it's nice to at least see them on Dynamite. They're great workers. They're fantastic guys. I do have a very soft spot for Santana and Ortiz. You know, I've met them, great guys. I've been a huge fan pretty much since day one with these guys and watched them all around the world. So I'm a little bit biased, but hey, at the end of the day, they're world-class talents. I just feel like they deserve a little bit more. Eyebrows were raised for me when I noticed that it was going to be Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy closing out the show with a little face-off. I thought, you could have sworn that Wardlow and Luchasaurus or something was going to be. Now, obviously, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but on social media, Jericho's been kind of jawing at certain people who have been giving him stick for, you're going to be wrestling a job like Orange Cassidy and all that. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Orange Cassidy. Don't think he's a job. I think he's a great worker. Would just like to see him take it a bit more seriously. Now, before everyone jumps down my throat, I know that's his fucking gimmick. That's fine. But I would just like to see, you know, it's no problem when he's outside the ring, but when he's in the ring and he's still kind of like, you know, getting one over on great wrestlers with his hands in his pockets, just kind of kills the vibe for me. Just seems a bit ridiculous. It makes the guys opposite him look ridiculously stupid, and that's fine if he's wrestling a joke like Marco Stunt, but if he's wrestling somebody who's legitimately a top quality wrestler like a Chris Jericho, you know, seeing him kind of give Pac the run around, that's not smart stuff. You know, the Orange Cassidy I want to see is the Orange Cassidy I saw on AEW Dark with Peter Avalon. I did see that bit from AEW Dark, and that was great, really entertaining, really good fun. By the way, Peter Avalon, I feel like he could do with a nice little run, to be honest, on Dynamite. I'm really enjoying Peter Avalon. I feel like he could be used a lot more. Just my 2 cents. But Chris Jericho, Orange Cassidy, face off. You knew it was going to be ridiculous. That it proved to be in some ways. I love Jericho's promo, man. Like, it seems like hyperbole to say he's the greatest of all time, because he's still going and he's still as entertaining as he is. But I really feel that way at this point. I really feel like nobody has done more to reinvent themselves time after time, to still be relevant, to still be cool, to still put everyone over, to still be entertaining, still be funny. You know, the bubbly bunch, the little bit of the bubbly, the Judas effect, the way the music plays, the fact that people sing his music, you know, getting Sammy Guevara to sing his music. He seems to have endless material. Endless. At what point do we stop and say, wow, Chris Jericho has been incredible for this business? I really am just gobsmacked in so many ways by everything that Chris Jericho has achieved. And here we are. It's another good example of this, right? Him versus Orange Cassidy. It looks like funny, hilarious jobber guy who's, ridiculously capable in the ring when he can be bothered, against one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live in Chris Jericho. And instead, Chris Jericho comes out and he cuts this great promo and he feeds off of what certain people think about Orange Cassidy. Some people, aren't really feeling the gimmick, like myself, but enjoy it for what it is. Other people just outright hate it, like Jim Cornette. And there are some people who just love and adore it, and that's fine too. He comes out and he talks about why did a chicken cross the road. It's funny at first, then it just gets a bit boring, like you. Just the way he puts him over. And he says, do you know what? You are entertaining. Why were you, pushed? Why were you given a contract? I love the story that was told. And actually, Orange Cassidy looked like a star at the end of this Dynamite. Putting Jericho through that table after that Whopper brawl. He had blood on his shirt, which looked fucking cool as well. He really fucked up his ear. I thought it was a sick look. And I would like to see progression. And I'm hoping that we're going to see the evolution of a star eventually. But, man, Chris Jericho doing a great job. And fair play to Orange Cassidy, man, because I've been one of those people who's detracted away from him slightly and said, it is what it is. But I love this. Great ending. Really like the imagery of him standing over him, just kind of pushing his t-shirt back down, brushing himself off and cracking on with it. I thought it was really good, actually. I really enjoyed it. This Dynamite wasn't as good as the last couple for me. I haven't seen NXT yet. That's what I'm going to watch in a bit because obviously #Team No Sleep. But I am very curious to see what NXT was like because that seems to be hotting up quite a lot as well. And with the insertion of their own kind of audience now in WWE, which, they were playing catch up to AEW for so long with that, I feel like it's really helped perk up the story and what they're trying to do. And I've actually really enjoyed WWE lately. So, newsflash, you can watch both. You can enjoy both. Get over yourselves. There are much more difficult things going on in the world right now, so I don't give a fuck about ratings, and I don't care who's a better show or whatever, but, it is fun. It is fun to have this kind of wrestling at your disposal and then to be able to say, cool, now let's check out 2 hours of NXT, which can be equally as fantastic, sometimes better, sometimes not, doesn't really matter. The reality is it's always going to be a lot better than the majority of the other wrestling that you watch, and that's the cool thing about Wednesday nights. Wednesday night delight indeed. Let us know what you thought, gang. That's what the comment section is for. Don't forget to like, subscribe, obviously hit the notification icon, the bell icon, so you can get notifications, of course, of anything we're doing in the future, and most importantly, just look after yourselves in a very difficult time. For myself, Aaron X, this has been the Wrestle Blog, and we'll catch you very soon for more nonsense from that insane world of wrestling.